afternoon, class. You hear me well? So, you ready for start the class? So everyone, today lesson I continue the lesson in the previous lesson, but focus on waiting lights because I think that this slide is easy for you to follow. So use that slide. I also upload this slide on the Blackboard. If you uh, want to download that, so go to the Blackboard. Okay. What we already studied in the previous lesson, everyone. In the previous lesson, what we studied. We studied what capacity design, right? We capacity design. We focus on long-term capacities. So let me show you this slide first and quickly review. Okay, in previous slide, previous lesson, we focus on long-term capacities. So we will know that the back capacity, related capacity, effective is some definition related with capacities. And after that, we can connect and we on the capacity strategies. We have two types of capacity strategies I mentioned in the previous. Okay, and example, calculate the bottlenecks, calculate the capacities. So what single products and what multiple products. Okay. So today lesson we focus on tool for the capacity planning. For this, we focus on the main, that is the waiting line system. So we don't consider simulate and decision trees. So for a waiting line system, in this slide is also include waiting line system, but I think that I prefer you other slide is better for you to study. And in here, so some section we put reading, that is for you to read that at home. We don't need to teach you. So the main focus on the waiting light. So everyone, let me show you the slide today. So waiting line and queuing theories. So let me ask you the question related with waiting lists. So I believe that all of you have like experience with waiting lists. So who can give me example related with the waiting line experience? Hello. So when you go to the supermarket, so you must to get a line in the cashier to check out, right? So if you go to the bank, yes, you wait for the payment in the supermarket. And so, can you share with me your experience in last week? Do you have any experience in life? Think about the line you have waited last week. So what else, everyone? Hello. Give me more example with waiting lines. Okay, machine waiting for repairing. What else? À, Nguyễn Ngọc Tô Tố Sang, right? So could you like clarify wait for shipment? So it means like the first product will be delivered like first come first serve, right? They order first so they can receive the product first or the receive the good first, and you wait for until uh, they deliver your product, right? Maybe you miss in the waiting line or you in the line waiting for your products. Wait for table checkpoint. Wait the order lunch in the canteen. Yes, it means whether you follow first out. So it belongs to you. I will talk about the strategies later. First in, first out. First come, first serve is I will talk later. But in here, I just mentioned that waiting life. So that is a part of our life. So you can see many situations in waiting lives, right? Queuing, or we can call different name than a queuing. So the question is, how can we have changed to like change the queuing lives? How can we improve that? And we know that queuing, if we have the waiting lines, mean we wait time. So the question is how we can improve, how like the bank, the point office, or the airport. They improve their service. Or do you know that? Do you know any like solution for improve that? What did they done? What did they finish to improve? What have done? Yes, they have many registration sites. What else? Online register. Okay, it's good idea. Okay, increase the number of resources of system. So what do you mean number of resources of system handling? Can you clarify it? Okay. So you increase the number of staff, right? Or any other idea? Okay. Upgrade registration technologies. Uh, so everyone, my question is, so what do you think? What do you think if you get in the waiting list? What do you think? And on different question is like, what do you think? Why you have to wait? Why you should wait? Think about the system that is can work well or not. So of course, it's the system problem, right? If the queuing is long, like queuing, we have to wait because system needs time to process. Yes, needs time to process. Thank you. Um, okay, you have many idea, right? So today lesson we study in queuing system, and we will know how we can uh, calculate the number in the waiting light because we want to improve the system. We want to improve the system, so we must to know how the system works. So the question is, so what we should know in the queuing system because we want to improve that. So we should understand the system. But what factor you want to understand? What factor we want to know? So which one we should improve? So today lesson we will study with queuing theory. So let me go to the our live chapter. So for waiting line here, we consider introduction. We consider the single channel, multiple channel, and the waiting line costs. If your system have waiting lines. So you must pay for waiting line cost. That is the waiting line cost here. Didn't mention in Dr. Hawk's slide, but I want to give you like extra knowledge so you can see uh, how waiting line affects your system. Okay, so you know that here that is the waiting lines. Waiting line. We wait time, but that is it means we wait money here. So let me go with introduction. Okay. So queuing theory we have different name that is the study of waiting lists. So the component of the queuing process include that arrival, service facility, and waiting lists. So I will go one by one. Uh, okay, let me go with that. So what I'm just telling you that is the queuing the process. Queuing process include three factors, but the waiting like cost focus on finding the ideal level of service first supervised. So because you know that if arrival is larger than the arrival rate, it means the number come to your system larger than the number of customer you can serve. So it means your system have waiting light. So right now they try to find the ideal level to serve that, right? Okay, is here's so uh, generally they should trade off the provide cost of providing service and cost of waiting times. So if they try to provide more service, so they must to pay more cost, right? But if they don't have enough service, so they must to pay cost for waiting lists. So that's why they should trade off between both of cost, providing service and cost of waiting lists. So you can see that a lot staff and many service facilities generally result in the high level of service, but have high cost. If you have minimum number of service facilities, keep service costs down, but may result in dissatisfied customer. So that's why we need to trade off. So service facility can evaluate pay on the total expect cost. It means the service cost and waiting cost. The service cost is mean like if you go to um, the washing car, so the service cost for washing car and the cost, the waiting cost. So we will know. So do you know waiting cost? Waiting cost we pay for what? Do you have any idea for waiting cost? The service cost is mean you must to pay if you get a service that. But what about the waiting cost? Waiting cost you pay for what? Any idea, everyone? Customer satisfaction. So it means the cost we want to increase customer satisfaction, right? So any other idea? Mm-hmm. Cost of losing customer if they refuse to wait. And another cost you can consider that is we have facility for them like waiting room, right? Or you must to provide drink or beverage for them in the waiting room. So that is several example for waiting costs. So of course, every company they must to find like the level of service such as minimize the total fixed cost, like they minimum the number of money they must to pay. So here, you look at this figure, you can see that is the cost, that is the service level. You can see that cost of providing service. If the service level is high, so the cost is high. The cost increase if the service level increase. So here, the waiting time. The waiting time is like if the waiting time uh, is small, so the cost you must pay is high. So right now they trade off that between the cost of providing service and cost of waiting time. They can find the minimum, the optimal service level they should provide here. So example, so these companies, the three River Shipping operates a docking facility on the Ohio River. Average of 5 ships arrive to unload their cargo each ship. Idle ships are expensive. Um, more staff can be hired to unload the ship, but that's expensive as well. Three river shipping companies want to determine the optimal number of teams of the stevedore to employ each ship to obtain the minimum total expected cost. It means they try to find the minimum, the total cost, right? Minimum total cost by can they determine the number of team they should employ. So you look at this table. So here, summarize the information from these companies. So the average number of ships arriving per shift is five here. So average time each ship wait to unload is 7 hours. So the total ship hour plus per shift, that is 35. So you take 5 times 7. So you have 35 hours, right? You have 5 ships arrive, but each ship you must to spend 7 hours for unloading. So the total hours should be 35. So the estimate cost per hour of idle ship time, that is 1,000 US dollar. So the value of ship lot time or waiting cost should be, you take 35 here, you time with 1,000. So you have the value of ship lot time or waiting times. So the stevedore team salary. So you must to pay the money for the team should be here 6,000. So the total cost. So you can compare the waiting cost and the serving cost. You have the total expected cost is 41,000. So here that is just one team. So what about the second team? If you second team, you get like 35 optimal cost, 35,000. You work in the same way, so you can have 32. Well, sorry, 32. If you have 3 teams, so that is 33. You have 4 teams, here's 34. So you can see that if you revise the number of teams, more number of teams, like 3 or 4, you can see the expected cost you must to pay is large. Right. So if you have the number of teams that is low, like just one, the cost you must to pay, that is the cost you must to pay is 41. So why? Because you can see here the waiting time, the waiting cost for team for 1, 2, 3 here is different. If you provide more service, so the waiting cost is low. But you can see the service cost here is increased. So we should trade off the waiting cost and service cost. So make sure that we can find the optimal cost, maybe the minimum expected cost, right? Okay, everyone, any question? So if you don't have a question, so let me move on. So right now we are focused on the characteristics of queuing system, because you know what is the queuing system, and right now is what is the characteristics. So there are 3 parts of queuing system. 3 parts. The first, that is the arrival. arrival or input of system. So sometimes we call that the calling population. For example, uh, arrival, five people enter the supermarket in 10 minutes. So five people arrival in 10 minutes. That is the arrival or input to the system. System is the supermarket. So the queue or waiting lines. So it's how long the waiting lines, how many people in the waiting lines, and each people they spend how long in the waiting lines. Okay, and another that is the service facility. Service facility is mean how many channel you can serve the customer. So, for example, in the supermarkets, you have many cashier to check out. So we mentioned about the service facility or the staff they serve in the system. Okay. So here we go to detail one by one. The first go to arrival character. So as I mentioned, arrival is the number of, like example, number of customer enter in the system in the fixed time. So what we focus on arrival. The first that is the size, second is the pattern and behavior. So we mentioned about the size. Size we have two types. The first that is unlimited and limited, or we can call that is the finite and infinite. For example, in the supermarket, go to the supermarket, the size of calling population or arrival that is the infinity. We don't have the limitation for number of customer enter the supermarket. But another example, like if you go to um, like the restaurant, the small restaurant, the number of um, customer they can serve like just 50, and they just accept for like five people waiting line. So that is the limit. Okay. Or if you go to the barber shop, so just one staff they serve. So they have a limited. Okay, right now I serving this customer. I'm just accept for one customer wait. So that is the limited. So we move on the pattern of the arrival can arrive according to know like the randomly. So you example go back with example in supermarkets. So the number of customer enter the supermarkets that is random, right? We don't know next 5 minutes how many people enter the supermarket. So arrival here as random. So a random of arrival here follow the Poisson distribution. So do you remember Poisson distribution? Remember Poisson distribution that is they show the number of, for example, like number of customer arrive in a fixed period of time. So that is the arrival. That is the Poisson distribution. Okay. So we just so here you see that arrival. We go with characteristics of arrival. So right now we go with behavior of arrival. So everyone, do you have any questions related with the characteristics? Characteristics include size and pattern. Here, size, unlimited, and limit. Pattern that is random. Right now we move to behavior. So behavior of arrival. So more queuing model assume customer are patient and wait in the queue until their service. They do not switch lines. So when we solve like the queuing system, they usually assume like that. But in the real life problem, so we have parking. Parking is referred to the customer. They refuse to join the queue. They give up. They don't want to get in line. And another renege. Reneging. Reneging customers, that is the customer, they enter the queue, but impatient. They leave without receiving the service. So the behavior of the arrival like this. No queue. Or they can queue in a short time, but after that they leave. Okay. What are the characteristics of the arrival? So right now we move to the waiting list. Okay, so here you see we just deal with arrival. Right now we move to the waiting list. Waiting list. So the same in the waiting line can be limited and unlimited. So I already give you example with the waiting line limits and unlimited when I explain arrival, right? Arrival, they just allow the number of customer they can serve allowed to arrive. But waiting line also, okay, I'm just accept or my space just allow to 5 customer uh, get in line, not over 5 because I have just small space for waiting line. That is the limit and unlimited. So if you have a large space, so that is unlimited. So when you go to airport, also like unlimited, right? They don't say is the limited the number get in line. Queuing discipline. Queuing discipline refer to the rule by which customer in the line service receive. So so waiting lines they have the rule like share you mentioned in the previous that is the rule the first in first out or first come first serve that is belong to your system if um, your system you have the rule like this so you can apply that rule but for queuing the common rules the more common rule that is the first in first out. So So that here just like the common rule, but you have other rules. So let me see. I can tell you several rules. Like the best customer first, the service priority rule. Like for you, best customer first, or highest profit customer first, or quickest service requirement first, or largest service requirement first, or emergency first. So it's depend on the priorities you apply in the system. So here we finished that the waiting list. Right now we move to the service facilities, the characteristics of service facilities. So for service facility, they divide in 4 systems. The first that is the single channel system and multiple system, single phase system and multi-phase system. So the first, the service system classify the number of channel or number of serve, number of phase or service stop. So let's see this. You look at this. That is the single channel or single phase system. So arrival, you just have one arrival, and after that they queue. That is waiting lines. They go to the service facilities and they leave, is depart after service. So for single channel but multi-phase system, multi-phase system is mean they have the first facility, they have the second. So who can give you example related with single channel but multi-phase system? Hello, my student. Can you give me example related with single channel multi-system? Do you have experience on single channel and multi-phase system? Hello. Hospital. Yes, you're right. Hospital. Yes. In the hospital, you have to wait to pay for the fees, right? And then you make another queue to see a doctor. Another example, everyone. So that maybe you go to clinics, but I think yes, healthy food. Yeah, in our canteen, HD count food count. Okay, but for so I mentioned in the hospital maybe they have like mm, not single, not single. So here is single channel. Maybe you have maybe the hospital is look like multi-channel. So they have like many registration. So you can go in the different registration table, and after that, the queue to go to the to see the doctor. But like if you have different disease, so you go to different service. Like it look like the multi-channel, single phase system rather than it's a single channel and multi-phase system. Do you agree with me on that? Yeah, it's look like queuing, but they have multi-channel sometimes. But if you go to clinic, it's the small. So you go with a single channel, um, Taiwan service system, Taiwan service facility, and you wait again for see the doctor. Okay, so anyone can give you example what multi-channel single phase system? So where can you see that a system multi-channel single phase system? Hello, do you have any idea? So let me ask you. Phạm Lê Hồng Ân. Hello ông, Hồng Ân.
Yes.
Have any idea? So in multi-channel single phase system, so Thắng Linh give example in the bank. So in the bank you have many channel in different function, right? Loading, borrowing, sending the money. So it's correct. But do you have any other idea? Okay, you don't have any idea, so just move to next. Phone train station Đà Lạt. So can you describe the case in Phone train station Đà Lạt? Yeah, Hoàng Châu, you're right. So game station, you buy the call, but we must to wait to wait, like go to different service because you have different type of game. Move to the multi-channel. So what about multi-channel and multi-phase system, everyone? So where you can see this system? multi-channel, multi-phase system. Where you can see. Hello. Any idea what multi-channel, multi-phase system? Okay, in the spa. So go to master service and move to popping service. Okay. So in the spa we have for Taiwan, for for Taiwan, Taiwan here. We have like two staff service like massage, and after that you go with like the popping service like Huang Zhou describes. Right? If you finish, so you can go next. You can choose which one, who you like, so you can go, or which room you refer. You can go to the tattoo service. Everyone, any question related with the queuing channel? You have a question? Gal, you don't have a question, right? The last model. What if they're in queue between the service? So here, if they have the service, if they have the queue here, right? It mean the service, the tattoo here, they can serve many people than tattoo like this. So if they have a queue here is fine. If they have a queue here, it means their system have problem in this state. Tattoo. That is, they can they serve, the number of people they can serve is lesser than the tattoo, so they have a queue. Yes, yes, yes. So we can call that in a multi-channel, multi-phase. Okay. Have any other question? Okay. So right now I move to the service distribution. We just finished with the service facility and service channel, right? Right now, we go to the service time distribution. So as you know that arrival is mean the number of customer enter the system is follow the Poisson, right? Poisson distribution. So the service time distribution here that it can be constant or random. So either constant or random. The constant rise if we use the machine to serve that customer. So the service time may be constant. But if the staff or the human they serve that, the service time maybe it's random, right? So the service time random distribute according to exponential distribution. Do you remember exponential distribution? So the exponential distribution deal with the time between occurrence of the service event, between of the occurrence of the service events, at time followed by continuously. So it means um, like if Boyson is they consider number of customers, how many customers enter in one fixed period of time. But for exponential, that is the continuous. Continuous is not discrete. Continuous is so. Let me think about example. So it means like the time between the success events. So let me give you example. Like 3 hours, I can watch. Uh, 1 hour, I can watch three machines. That is the service time, right? And like arrival is like the number five customer enter the supermarket in 10 minutes. That is the Poisson. Exponential is like 1 hour. Watch three machines. You got what I mean? You you mean like between the discrete event? Yes, we mentioned about the success event that is a discrete, but the time that is continuous time. Okay. Okay. So let me move to the next slide. So this is describe to identify the model using candle notation. So when we use the queuing model, they use like the notation like that. So let me write it down so you can look at the board. They have like M1, or they have M2, or they have MD2, something like that. That is the model of queuing. So right now I explain that the meaning of the notation here. What is the notation here? So the first study the arrival distribution. So arrival distribution, they usually use M. M represents for Poisson distribution. It's the number of occurrence. So D, that is the constant rate. If they write here is M, so you understand that arrival distribution, that is a Poisson distribution. So usually arrival distribution here, that is D, M, sorry, this Poisson. A service time distribution. Service time distribution, they also write N, but actually it's the service, that is the exponential, right? Service time is the exponential. So what? So let me explain that later. What? The first, that is the arrival distribution, service time, the number of channel open. Also, they have like the limits on the system. Like they have MD, MM1, and the next here the limit. Like the limits on Q or limit on the system. If no limits, so they write infinities like this. If no limit, they write infinity. If not, like if you limit 3, 4, so they can write the number in the limits on their system or in the queue. So the next, so they may have like the staircase, the priority rule, first in, first out, or if you have a first come, first serve, is highest, is first is something like that. They will in this position. Arrival distribution, service time distribution. Here that is the number of service channel open. The limit, the limitation on queue or on system, that is the rule, the priority rule. So here we have single channel model. We have MM1 with Poisson arrival and exponential service would be represented by MM1. So everyone, you may ask me why exponential service time we write M here, right? Do you have any idea why they write M here? So I like to think about that. Why M here? So for the second channel, so you have 2 here. With the 3 channel with Poisson arrival, here Poisson arrival, but the constant service tab. Constant service tab. It's not random, right? Not random like exponential, so they write D. So for normal distribution, they write G. Here that is the number the channel open in the system. So what you mean the same rate parameter? Okay, lambda is the number of n. That is you mentioned partial. No, you are on the right tracks. So you think about the exponential, so you can get the solution. Okay, so I will go back this later. Um, okay, so everyone, we just finished with what the characteristics of queuing system, and we will move to the single channel and the multiple channel. But I think we don't have enough time. But anyway, so you can get 10 minutes break, and after that we will move to another. We have a lot of slides. But okay, 15 minutes, 10 minutes break, and after that you go back, and I will move to the single channel model. So any questions, so you can think and let me know after break. Hello. I'm back. So, everyone, are you still here? So let me move on the next slide. We just know about the characteristics of QE system include that arrival, service system, waiting light. So right now we go to detail of a single channel model and horizontal arrival, exponential service time. So we can write that is the MM1. One that is the one channel, single channel. M that is the horizontal arrival. Another M that is the exponential service time. So assumption of the model. So if you use that model, so you have list of assumption here. The first that is the arrival, such as first in, first out. No baking or renaging. It means you cannot refill, you don't have any K refill to get in the light or switch the lights. They the customer in, impatient, so they will give up. So we don't have that case. So arrival are independent. Arrival independent, but arrival rate is constant over time. So for example, so for example, like so from 9 to 9:15, we have five people enter the market. So from 5:30 to 5:30, you have 3 people. So from 9:30 to 9:40, so you have 7 people. So like this, that went down. But average is the rate here. The rate must be constant, like the 5 people. So in 15 minutes, we consider it's 15 minutes, 15 minutes. That is the constant over time. Arrival follow Poisson distribution. Okay, so number of customer arrive in the fixed up period of time, right? The service time arrival the service time must be followed the exponential distribution. Okay, and we assume that the service rate larger than the average arrival rate. Service rate larger than average arrival rate. Hello, hello. So you are still here? I want to check that you are in my class. Hồ Lê Minh Phương. Hello Phương. Phương. So I'm just randomly check that if you are not in my class. So I think it's if you are not in my class, so I just randomly check attendance. Hello.
Yes, teacher, I'm full.
Okay, you are here. Any question for me?
Can you say that again? My internet connection is not good. I can't hear anything.
So I ask you, like, do you have any question for me related with the slide it's provide for you?
Now I don't have any question.
Okay, so because sorry, I must to check that because that is online class, so I don't know you are in class. You understand what I'm talking about? So I just randomly check attendance. So please.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay. um, so okay, let me move to the next slide. So for single channel, we consider the mean number of arrival per period and mean of the customer or unit service per period. So um, and I'm just give you example here. So from 9 to 9:50, you have 5 people enter the supermarket, and from 9:50 to 9:30, you have 3 people. 9:30 to 9:45, you have 7 people. So average rate here that is the 5 people, right? Average rate is 5 people. So lambda that is the mean of number of per time period is mean 5 people, 5 people in enter in 15 minutes, right? That is the average rate. Lambda will be equal that. Lambda equal 5 people per 15 minutes. And mean, that is the mean number of customer. So number of customer be served per period of time. So for example, I 1 hour I can wash 3 machine. 1 hour I can wash 3 machine, right? So that is we have like for example, you have 1 hour, 5 minutes. You can finish 3 machines, and you have another case just 55 minutes. You can finish this 3 machine. So you can take average. You can take average here. You have like 1 hour. You can finish 3 machine. That is the me here. So right now we move to the calculate like average number of customer in the system. Everyone, if you want to know about your queuing system, so what the problem in your system? So you must know right now with the system like that, average number of customer in your system is how many people, right? So you can calculate L equal to that is the arrival, mean of arrival. You divide for the service, mean of the service, right? Minus for average. And minus for mean of arrival. So look at this. So that is mean arrival rate, right? So mean, so that is mean what? Mean number of customers units. So mean of number of customer sub unit account. Like, for example, 5 people they enter and average. So user is how many? So let me give you example here. It's easy. Okay. So if you look at this example, it's easier. That is the shop they serve for car. The number of car arriving per hour is number 2, but they have 3 cars served per hour. In 1 hour, 2 car arrival, and 1 hour they can serve 3 cars. So the number of car in system that is 2 cars. So why we come up with the formula, everyone? You understand? Can you figure out that? So look at the board like this. 1 hour you have 2 cars come, and 1 hour you can serve 3 cars. Here that is the 3 cars you can serve. That is arrival. That is serve. So it means that per hour, right? So they spend 1/3 hour for each car. 1/3 hour. So here is mean they spend arrival. Each a half hour, 1 car arrival, right? So they can serve the car 1/3 hour. So it means that when they serve the first car, right, that they finish, they serve in this car, they serve in that car, they serve it not finished. So another car will come because here we must to plus is 1/6 hour because that is the service equal 1/2. During service less, so we have the compound. So it means finish finished, right? Service finished. So in the system you have 1 and 2. So that's why you have 2 compounds. Finished, so they will leave. Hello. question for me? Got that, everyone? So they spend like the 20 minutes to finish that. So during they service this one, so another car will come, right? Because they just come a half hour after a half hour one car come. So during they serve this car, so another car come. So in the system you have two cars. Hello, Joe. Understand? Châu. Hello. Hoàng Châu.
Dạ cô, em có trả lời trong kia rồi.
Okay. So let me move on to next slide. So we calculate average time customers spend in system. So every time a customer, just a customer, everyone, a customer spend in system. So average time for one customer spend in system. So W will be divided for, that is the service rate, right? Minus arrival rate. So calculate for number of customer in queue. That is, we consider time, right? So here we consider number of customer in queue. So it's how many people waiting. So that's new one. What I'm trying to say that is 1/6 plus 1/3 equal a half hour. Because we serving the second car. So serving, for example, here we spend 20 minutes. So finish and leave. Right now, for 20 minutes, we will serve for the second car. But at 10 minutes, so another car will come. So 10 is equal to 1/6. And here is 1/3. Okay? Quỳnh Như. It means after 30 minutes, another car will come. Okay, so let me explain that again. So right now, okay, start with the first one. In the system, I watch that car. So after 20 minutes, so I finish watch the first car. Okay. So finish, so the car will leave. So I'm doing watching another car. If I finish this car, so I spend 20 minutes, right? But during I'm watching that car, so for example, like this, I hear that is a tape. 10 a.m. I'm finished that. I'm watching that. But 10 a.m. 10. So I'm watching that. I'm not finished that, right? I finished that at 10:20. So at 10 here, have another arrive, another car ride. Because a half hour have one car ride, right? We have one car here, arrive, and we service this car. So in system we have two cars. The car here already live. You got that? Right now we consider how many car in the system, right? The car here is live. The car here I'm watching. The car here arrived, so they're waiting in the waiting line. So we just have two cars. Okay. So move to the average of customer in queue. So average customer in queue will be equal. So that is the number of customer in system. So the in the system is mean in the service and in the waiting line. So we have number 2 here, right? Example. So that is the waiting lines. One car in waiting line and one here that is the service. So we have 2 cars. But the average number of customer in queue, it means we want to know how many customer in queue here. You will equal what? L times what? That's one. So we have lambda times what? Let me see. Let me see how we come up with the formula. B. So P here will be equal to lambda. We call that the average utilization. Average utilization. So example. So go with example. Here, W is mean one car spend 1 hour in the system. One car spend 1 hour system. So in here you can see that car waiting line on average is 1.33. So it's why 1.33. So you time with the average utilization. Utilization is mean that is the arrival, that is the service. arrival and the service. So usually arrival and most service here is lesser than equal 1, right? Um, because we assume in assumption that is lesser than arrival rate lesser than service rate. You can see in here the service rate larger than arrival rate, right? In assumption. So the utilization should be lesser than equal 1. Lesser than. Lesser than. Right? So the average time a customer spend waiting in the queue, the average. So one customer is how long one customer they wait in the queuing. So you have W here. Okay. So the same way would I analyze for you, so you can analyze, you can understand why we come up with this formula. Because right now we don't have much time. Actually, so Dr. Hoff just finished the slide is 1.5 class, but right now I spent 2 class, but not finished yet. Okay. So, if you have a question like that, if you have the problem, you know how many people in yours, how many people you can serve, and how many people they arrive. So you can calculate the waiting light here, that is 1.33 car waiting, and they must spend 40 minutes waiting, average, because that is the people serve. So maybe we consider in the average. If machine control, so we don't need to consider average. So in here, the percent of busy mechanics is average utilization. Lambda divided for mean is 0.67. And here that is the probability that is zero current system. So you can see that the percent of time busy, that is 0.67. So we just mark 1 minus this value, so you will have zero current system, right? Not busy. So how can we calculate the probability if more than car is system? So for example, so I want to calculate more than 3 car in my system. So here you can see that is the probability for more than 3 car in system. It's quite low, right? 0. Is 20, near 20%. So you can apply this case, that is the modern current system. So you can substitute here, you can calculate. If more than 4, so you get a number. number more than twice. Okay, that is quite easy to calculate. So I don't mention about Excel, so let me move on to the cost. So as I tell you that the total cost include the service cost and the waiting cost, right? So how can we calculate the service cost? Service cost will be equal with number of channel times with cost per channel. So you take N times C. This is very easy. And for the waiting cost you consider the time waiting for all arrival, you time with the cost of waiting. So you have number of arrival, you time with average wait per arrival. You time with cost, so you have the total wait cost here. The waiting cost you plus with service cost, so you get total cost. Service cost, waiting cost, so you get the total cost. Okay, so I give you example with total cost. So this company, they estimate cost for waiting, that is $50 per hour. So they can calculate 8 hours per day, right? Number two, that is the number two here. That is WQ. WQ is mean the average waiting per car, right? WQ. So why is it number two? Let me see in this formula. Number of arrival. So average times C. So 2 is lambda. Yes, 2 is lambda. Lambda is Q, WQ. Lambda. So here that is 2 over 3 because we consider hour. 40 minutes is 2 over 3 hours. C, that is the $50 here. So you can calculate the waiting cost. For service cost, 8 hours, and that is 1 because 1 channel, and 50, that is the service cost. The total cost, they sum waiting cost and service cost. We have the total cost. That's number. Okay. So in Dr. Học slide don't have this, so I give you extra. Okay. That is finished for single. That is finished for single channel. So what about the multiple? I also have another example in here. You can read that, but I have no time. So I will move on to multi-channel queuing. So multi-channel, so here that is M. Single here is 1. The assumption is the same with the single. The assumption here is the same. So when we calculate that, so we have multi-channel, we have average rate, average service rate, average arrival rate. So here that is the probability for 0 customer in system. So it's like this. You can actually, if you analyze here, spend time, but because that is the application cost. If you understand, you can study in the probabilistic model, stochastic model. So we have more time to discuss on the probability. So here just application, so you can accept that. And the average number of customer. So the same, you can apply this formula to self-employed. So here that is the average. And every factor here we consider the same with the single channel. The number of customer in the waiting list. So average customer in the waiting service, waiting for service. So here that is the average utilization. Okay. Because we have m, so we must divide m. That is example. That is example. So example, they calculate the customer arrival is number 2, right? Is service rate is number 3. They just substitute, so you can calculate the probability for no kind system. But you know that the previous study just one channel. Here we have 2. The second garage gate. They want to open another gate so they see what happened, right? So after we just calculate like that. So when we calculate the cost, the same procedure, we calculate the cost. So the total cost for system here, that is the $273, right? $273. So for the first channel, how many we get? The first channel, one channel. That is a for queuing system, but they consider here that is 360, right? 360. Here that is but because they consider the open the second pay or they hire the second worker. So if they hire, look at this. Look at this. If they use the one single channel, so they pay that number. So they consider they rent more staff. So the money they must to pay that number. That is the $293. But for single and more staff. So with the second case, we consider two service, two channel. So if with two channel, Right. Hold something. Open the second day and hide second worker at the same brace. So in here you can. It means they make comparison between two K. The first they must to pay. Let's see. Let's see. They can compare. So here. They saving. That is the money they save. No. So if they open the second service, so the total cost they must pay that number. Open the second day and hire the second worker at the same 15 rate. So actually here we don't have enough information to conclude that. We just know about the total cost of system. Okay, everyone, what I'm trying to say that we can make comparison between single channel and the second channel. So which one is the better we can choose. So you can see here what the one channel is single channel. The service rate is number 3. So you can see the probability for system empty is like 0 car in system is 0.33, here 0.5, and here that's 0.5. So it means you have 2 channels. So each channel they have the service rate is number 3. Here they have 4 channels. One fast mechanics, one fast. That is 2. That is 1 but normal. The service rate that is number 4 is mean they can service faster than the normal. And they make the comparison. So here that is 2 car, they can service 2 car, 0.75, 1 car. And the information like this. So it means that if you have one channel, so the queue, the number of car in queue is larger than if you have 2, right? If you use the faster, but also higher than if you use 2 channel here, and the number of time, the service time, if you use both channel is lower, it's just 2.5. So here, that is the constant service model. But for constant service model, I'm just let you read that. The main application for capacity design, that is, we should design the capacity, right? So we should consider the waiting lines. If you cannot design enough the capacity, so you get in the long lines waiting. It's not enough the facilities support for your service. But if you have over that, so you must to pay high cost. So that's why we must to study the waiting line here. With the waiting line knowledge, so you will trade off between the service service cost and the waiting cost. You can trade off between them and select which one that is the optimal solution. So that is the lesson today. Everyone, this slide I already upload in the Blackboard. If you do not refer this slide, so you can use the slide from Dr. Hoff, is the same knowledge. But here I'm put more knowledge because I think that is easy for you to follow that. Any question for me? Everyone, when you design the capacities, so you can analyze that design. You must to design like one channel, and we compare with the main 2 channel, 3 channel. It means we do analysis on that, so you can see the whole picture of the problem. So which one you should choose? For the calculation, it's not difficult. So the homework will be uploaded in the Blackboard for you to practice. Any question for me? Okay, you can read my slide again. If you have any questions, so you can ask me in next class, or you can send me the question in the chat box here. I will answer your question. If nothing discussed, so we can stop here. See you in next class. Goodbye.